right. Hello, friends. Welcome to Location Weekly. This is episode number 625, and I'm here with Carsten. We are in Lake Como in Italy. Just finished our half-year board meeting, kind of vision planning on what we're doing next with the LBMA, and so this podcast will be a little bit different as we're just going to share what our plans are, where we've been, kind of what's coming up next, event-wise and industry-wise, where we think some of the changes are happening. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. So no kind of stories per se that we're covering anything specific, but we just wanted to share with you from this beautiful place.
Yeah, thank you. It was a great meeting. Also, our vision of the LBMA and what we are planning to do. As you all know, so industry is changing dramatically through ChatGPT and all this artificial intelligence now coming more and more common. It is existing for a long time, even in our industry. But I think it was a good point for us also to rethink our strategy and the highlights and mark what we're going to do next, or especially on that topic. And I think we should kick off also with this outcome of our meeting, which is more or less based on the artificial intelligence part and what does it mean for our industry at the end of the day. So we had a lot of conversations about that. And one outcome is that a lot of companies are already using it, but we don't see it. And when it comes to privacy, it makes 100% sense. So just Asif, you mentioned that before, so there's more and more privacy concerns, even in North America, GDPR-wise, and so people not want to be tracked. So the idea is now using artificial intelligence to build kind of models,
Yeah. I think there's kind of two movements coming together, right? And so obviously we've had GDPR in Europe for quite a while now. The North American market, the U.S. market in particular, is draft legislation coming next year, that will be very similar to GDPR in kind of how the privacy works in terms of opting in instead of out and things like that. So I think that's changing the game a little bit in terms of, what was the Wild West in location tracking in North America. I think at the same time we have Apple already made changes, in the last year and a half with the IDFA. Google has said theirs is coming, in 2024. And so already some of the brands are testing the new Google Flock system and other things from a privacy point of view. And so where does that move the industry? I think one of the key factors that we're seeing right now is that brands have shifted away from one-to-one kind of personalization in general and moved to cohort or audience-based targeting now. So yes, we're still using location data, but it's all anonymous. It's all in larger groups and following behavioral patterns. And that's mostly coming from mobile data, but increasingly now we're seeing other sources of data, whether it's hardware-based sensors or computer vision technology or other things that are happening that are feeding those data inputs. And then on the AI part, I think one of the early things that we're seeing there is kind of building, we can call them digital twins or what you want to call them, but essentially simulated populations, of instead of using actual human populations, us as for tracking purposes, we're building simulated models of cities, of the people in those cities, the ethnic and demographic and socioeconomic profiles of those groups, and then using these simulated models, which are trained on actual human behavioral models. The AI can then kind of do predictive analytics on kind of where people are going and where they're coming from and what they're going to be interested in and things like that. So I think that's one of the big trends we're going to see in the next year or so.
Yeah. Well, especially when it comes to this, so it's easier for a marketeer to understand what happens if you run this campaign, if you open a shop here or do promotion for this or that, if you can't use of these models. And this is not new. This is actually a very old game, so doing this kind of modeling. Mm-hmm. But if we feed that with artificial intelligence driven data, that means we can feed the information from the sensors we have now personalized into an unpersonalized way to use these data models, which is coming more realistic than ever before. And I think this is one of the big changes we're facing. Yeah. So what else? What's going on in our industry? So what does it mean for us?
I think one of the other obvious topics right now is AR and VR and XR. What that means in terms of, visualization of products and services and entertainment and how content is getting delivered. And some of that is very much location based. It's content that is activated on site, where you are. So I think that's really interesting, and I think the hardware that's driving that, is still in early days.
Absolutely. So early days is right, and if we're talking about augmented reality and the possibilities of augmented reality, it is more or less not the technology, which is now the limitation of the factor. It's just pure the industry has to pick up. And with the market entry from Vision Pro from Apple, we have now a device where more and more developers go into and say, right, I want to see that, I want to know how that works, and develop products. And this is what the industry were missing for the last 5 to 7 years, because augmentation is there. You can use your phone to do extended reality things, but with this more advanced approach that on an entertainment side, and you saw the Apple keynote with Disney and co. So this is a game changer in terms of how we will see development in that area in the future. And also when it comes to glasses, so everybody's saying they are far away, but they aren't, because I'll give you some insights from the AWE. This is the developer conference for the industry at the end of the day in Santa Clara 3 weeks ago. And so Zeiss, the manufacturer of just glass and lenses, showed their new product line, and they're not showing smart glasses. They just showed the lenses with an optical correction in that for a good price tag. They are searching for hardware manufacturers to build out of these lenses than devices. And so if this price falls more and more, we will have kind of consumer glasses available within the next 2 years. And the first use cases, maybe in a safe environment, we say, right, you're in a museum, you're in an airport, or in a shopping mall using just this one, but it's coming more and more, and the use cases in terms of wayfinding or marketing are huge. And if you think about location-based marketing and our possibilities, so just add on. So we have now the first companies that are doing this virtual storefronts. So you walk through the main street and they augmentate by using computer vision technology the storefront of the shop in a different way. So it's kind of we are back in Wild West, because it's in totally unregulated market. So if it's on a gaming platform or whatever used for this, so you can do whatever you want with a Coke store, for example, as Pepsi. But this is what we're facing as an industry association. And these are big changes for us, and therefore we need a lot of education and sharing this information. And as always, since now 13 years of LBMA, it's about the connection between people.
And so maybe that's a good transition into kind of coming out of our board meeting, sort of where we wanted to see things going for the LBMA specifically, and for the member base and the global operations. So I think a couple things as far as the services that we want to provide to the members, and I think first of all, it's been interesting coming out of COVID and trying to kind of refocus, and not being able to do our events and our conferences during COVID, having some good success bringing those back in the last year now, with the event in Atlanta last fall and the event in Munich in February, and then just recently now with Retail Loco at Mall of America 2 weeks ago. So I think for us, right now it's about growing again, about the recognition that I think location-based marketing is still a topic of interest. It's still a very important topic. Marketers really care about that. And I think one of the things that, maybe just to kick off, like as far as what we want to bring is, annually pre-COVID, we were always doing this annual research paper called the Global Location Trends Report. And this, for me, I think this year will be more interesting than even in past years, because we have these topics of ChatGPT and AI and all these other things, and to hear from the marketer community when we put the survey out, what are their thoughts about that? How do they want to kind of react with that and make that happen? So we're looking to, again, collect that data, and we'll be sending that out to all the members in the wider community to participate in the survey, and obviously releasing the results later this fall at the Atlanta event. What else we're working on?
Yeah, so visibility. I think this was a big learning during COVID and now also in the recovering. So first of all, our events are now fully on and offline available. So that's a big learning curve for us also in streaming technology. And it's always a challenge to make that work in a good way. But if you look back the past event at Mall of America, so we had at least the same amount of people on the live stream what we had on site, and then on demand we double 3 times the size of it and make the content available globally, because as a global association we have members, partners and friends all over the globe, and so they could not participate on physical events, and this will not change. So if I have a look at the travel restrictions of the big companies, they are still do cost cutting things on that, so a lot of those big companies are still not allowed to travel, not in the mid-management, but we need to do and run our conferences. So for us this is the way we just facing, so more digital content and visibility, and therefore we developed the best retail cases, about that, but still just remind you guys, as a member, as a partner, as a friend, you're allowed to just submit your case. If it's a retail case, it's somewhere visible to make the showcase, but out of this we have our member directory at the end of the day. So this is what we always had in the past. It was physically printed out as a book. Now it's online, but it's not what we really want. And so we came up with the idea of having this industry maps for different verticals, because this is the core, having our different verticals, different industries, bringing them together and make visible how the connections between the industries are working, and therefore this kind of industry maps, and maybe you can just add something on that. It's super important for us.
I mean, I think most of the vendor community, that we work with, and those that we don't yet, I think understand the idea of these sort of chaos maps, or visual sort of maps by industry that show all the key vendors, key players that are part of that ecosystem. And so what we're going to be launching this fall really is, as Carsten said, vertically based, maps like that, but dynamically kind of generated from our member base. And so one of the things, that's important as a member, if you're out there or soon to be a member, is to say, hey, I want to be, seen on that map. I want to be seen in that quadrant, in that ecosystem, kind of like, the Gartner Magic Quadrant kind of stuff. But I want to be visually there and represented and be seen, against these competitors or these other players in my ecosystem. And so we're going to be making that available for the whole location-based marketing ecosystem, whether that's retail or manufacturing or tourism, or even specifically looking at different areas like indoor navigation or augmented reality or analytics or things like that. So I think that's a big move for us later this year, that we're going to be making available to everyone. And I think the other thing that has always been central to us at the LBMA, and we just want to kind of maybe commercialize in a different way now, is the network and the connections piece of what we do. We're both been at this for a long time. We have large networks of folks that we're connected to all over the globe. We have the global operations of the LBMA and a wider network through that. And I think one of the things that we want to make available to our members is this ability to for those members to come to us and say, hey, we'd really like to get in front of this brand and this company and this agency or this other partner. Can you help us do that? And we, so giving us those target lists and helping, us, leverage and unlock our networks to give access to those things is part of the service we want to do. And that coupled with, I think, because of the way we're structured with Carsten sort of based in Europe and I'm based in North America, we also have this ability to do kind of market entry type of activities. So, if you're a European company, let's say, or let's say a Japanese company, or something like that, and you're looking to come into North America, we can help you with that, from getting virtual office to connections to first customers or pilots or those kinds of things. We can help facilitate that as part of being a member within the organization, and vice versa. If you're a North American company looking to go to Europe or looking to go to Asia, those kinds of things I think are part of what we want to do.
Yeah. And it's also more and more covering this new work initiative we see all around. It's not more limited in space. So what we had saw in the internet the early days was the democratization of information, and now we see the democratization of work. And so more and more companies are keeping up with that, and it's easier to open a business abroad than it was ever before. So, but the only thing what's missing is the direct connect to the market and the understanding to the market. And I think this is where our network fits perfectly in. And we already did that. We never charged it as a way as a commercial company will do, because it's a member service. But at the end of the day, we did that for a couple of people, a couple of companies, just do that. And so we have this. Oh, sorry for that. So we are outside, and some Italian motorcyclists are coming down the hill. That's what it is. And so. It is a good service at the end of the day, and gives you a feeling about the market and a good start on that. So yeah, that's it from that side. And the regular things about the LBMA, we're running our events and bringing our people together, and that's globally. It's super cool to see. So I want Asif to kick this massive list of events for the next 6 months. And this is impressive because we've been on our meetings around what's going on in the different regions. So we talked to the European operations, we talked to North America, we talked to Japan and to Asia, and then it came to, okay, there's a lot of stuff coming up. So what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the next few months, I mean, coming out of the summer and into the fall season, we start September 19th with POS Connect event in Cologne. This is both an on-site event as well as live streaming, as all of our events are now. So you have opportunity to participate in that.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, after that, so this is in front. This is the day before the Mexico, the most important digital marketing event in Europe and one of the biggest in the world in Cologne. So we also have a joint booth there. So there's a partnership with our media publication GF Nachrichten. So they run a joint booth for LBMA members. So Ground Level will be there, one of our partners, as always. And a couple of other members also take the opportunity to use this joint booth facility to make that visible. Yeah, and that at the end of the day, we are ending in that week with the Best Retail Case Award, which is more a casual party for the industry, where we show the best retail cases of the last months, but also celebrate ourselves for the work we did after Corona. So yeah, what's next?
Yeah, so I mean, and first of all, Best Retail Cases, just another shout out for that. If you're not familiar with that, go to bestretailcases.com or go to the LBMA.org site and look for it there. If you have a case study, submit it there. It's all about creating more exposure, more views, more sort of just sharing of the good work that our members and folks are doing. So make sure you get your case study in there. So kind of jumping over to October now, I guess.
Yes.
We have we'll be in Japan, and so the LBMA now, I guess, coming on the third year. Our operations there is partnering with CTEC, which is a very large conference similar to Comdex or a show like that, several thousands of people, and we have a partner booth within the trade show floor there. So 20 or so local member companies from the LBMA will be having a stand within the bigger partner booth, promoting what they're doing. I'll be there giving a talk, as will some of our other members be doing so. And so that's happening October 17th to 20th, just outside of Tokyo, in the suburbs there. So excited about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we jump into the end of October. So one of our member companies and the company I work with, Swarmony, they released indoor navigation product. They're XR experts, and so the AWE event is coming to Europe, and we will do in that frame LBMA XR tour through Vienna. So in partnership with the industry to make this happen, we invite C-level marketing from Europe to learn about XR and the possibilities on that specific location, because most of these augmented reality things are 100% location based, because if you think Pokemon, everything is location based at the end of the day at the space.
All right, so coming back to North America now, we are excited obviously with Retail Loco returning to Atlanta November 1st and 2nd. And I think just given kind of the views and the topics that we've already covered at the beginning of the show today, there's going to be a lot of interesting content and speakers. We've already started to put that together. So yeah, just put November 1st, 2nd, Retail Loco in Atlanta on your calendar. And I think the other thing too, just before I leave that topic, is one thing that we've tried really hard to do in the last year, I think, is with all of our physical events, is try to have these events not in hotel rooms or conference centers, but in experiential spaces.
Yes.
So going back to February past, when we had the Retail Loco in Europe, in Munich, we held this inside the Munich airport itself.
And then at the Westfield property of Riemerkarten, so the shopping mall there.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously just recently we had our conference inside Mall of America. So that was also really great. And we're looking to stay tuned. We'll be making an announcement about that for November 1st, 2nd, as well as to the venue. What else?
Yeah, what else? So we are end of the year. So end of the year means it's the beginning of the year 2024, which is NRF time. So we are back at New York. We have all best retail cases, steaks, dinner, and award ceremony are ongoing there. So year number 2 now, and steaks and friends for I think 5 years.
5 years,
something like that.
Yeah.
So that's good. Looking forward to this, and then we're back in Retail Loco Europe in Munich. So also here we will come up with